Yes, there we are. We are back. And anyway, we have with us our two fabulous guests. Quentin Lee, one of the best directors and motion picture writers and directors that I've ever worked with. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Anne.
Again. You're almost like...
I'm a family member.
Yeah, you
I just
are.
show up, it's like, free cupcakes. Where are they?
Well, you always have these fabulous projects you're working on, and our other guest is Alan Reade, the producer of this lovely project.
Can you do a round of applause for
Okay. We have a very large studio audience here, Alan. We spare no expense here at UBN.
Alan is also the associate producer on Big Gay Love.
Yes.
Did you know?
How come I did not know that? Have I met you?
Yeah, we're part of the Big Gay Love family.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
And Big Gay Love was doing, we went to the premiere
Downtown
here
Independence,
and
yes.
at the Downtown Independent. Yep. We ran and we did and we came out and everybody liked it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very happy about that. It's going to be showing in Texas and other places. Tell us where else it's going to be showing.
Well, that's
Do you know?
news. Texas, I didn't know. I thought it's playing in San Francisco.
Oh, in
I
San
thought it's going to
Francisco.
San Francisco. And really? You booked Texas?
I didn't.
Oh, no?
I'm not up.
Maybe not. Maybe that was Southern Baptist Sissies or something. I don't know. I've got 2 gay films out running around. And I loved doing that role, though. That was very fun. Now, what your new adventure is something called Operation Marriage. And tell us the beginning, whoever wants to, tell us the beginning of how you got the idea of turning a children's book into a movie.
Well, what happened was that I was on your show about my little Chinese PSA gay marriage film called Marriage Plan, Wedding Plan.
Wedding Plan.
Wedding Plan. So, and during that time, someone sent me, say, hey, you know what, there's this children's book called Operation Marriage. And basically my friend sent it to me. I said,
And what's
really
the
liked
author's
it.
name? Authoress's name?
Cynthia Chin Lee. And she's based in the Bay Area.
Oh, good. Let's
Got a copy for you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Signed copy.
Oh, I'm so excited. Look at this.
Yeah, let's see.
Operation Marriage.
Nice.
I will read this to my grandchildren.
Yeah, it's basically about an 8-year-old girl and her little brother. And they're trying to get the gay moms married before Proposition 8.
Oh.
So it's really a story for children about LGBT issues and marriage equality. And at the same time, I see it as also a historical document about, you know, how much we have struggled to get, you know, gay marriage in California.
And we have succeeded finally. And so many, what are we up to? 19 states have granted marriage, same-sex marriage here in the United States. And more to come, I'm sure. I think we've busted down a big barrier, don't you?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, just by hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. And we have a little clip that you sent.
Yes.
So let's can we run that clip,
Sure.
John?
Yeah, you
We're going
bet.
to see a little clip from Operation Marriage.
Alrighty.
Hi, I'm Quentin Lee. I'm a filmmaker. And when I first read Cynthia Chin Lee's picture book, Operation Marriage, I knew it would make a great short film.
I wrote a children's book called Operation Marriage. It's about an 8-year-old girl and her brother who try to get their gay moms to get married before Proposition 8.
My vision is to make this film as a piece of art and also a public service announcement and also a historical document of a particular moment in time in world history.
Operation Marriage is based on a true story. So I belong to a family group at our church, and I know Kathy and Lee, who are the moms in the story, quite well. And when we were having our potluck dinner, they were telling me about how they'd gotten married, and I thought, no, you guys have been married for a long time. And then they said, no, we got married legally because of Prop 8.
Lee and I had gotten married when we first met in Cambridge, Massachusetts. That was back in 1992. We met in 1989. And so we felt like we had already gone through a ceremony. It was in our church. It was something that we felt like made us a couple that had gone through a marriage or a holy union. And it didn't seem as important to us as it seemed to our children that we look at getting married legally. in the state of California.
I felt that if my parents are married and everyone else's parents are married, it wouldn't seem that we were different. And I think that I never really understood we were different until Prop 8 kind of like forced it into my face that like my family was not like everyone else's family.
The reason I think that Operation Marriage is really important is because it speaks in a space that ordinarily isn't covered, and that is the effect that marriage inequality has on children.
We're going to distribute the film for free online for kids worldwide to watch and for anyone to download as an educational tool to advocate for LGBT rights and marriage equality worldwide.
This film is entirely nonprofit. Every dollar you contribute, you'll see on the screen.
What we have is a $20,000 goal for donations for the film. However, we also have a stretch goal of $50,000. And if we make $50,000, what it means is we can do an even better production that reaches an even wider audience.
And I'm so excited to tell you that we've attached two of my favorite actresses, Mindy Cohn from Facts of Life and Scooby-Doo, and actress Tamlyn Tomita from the Joy Luck Club and Glee to play the moms, Kathy and Lee.
Please donate to our film, and thank you.
Welcome back to the Ann Walker Show on UBN Radio.
Yes, that was Mindy Cohn from Facts of Life. Tell us, Alan, you talk to us. Tell us about how you cast this and how you came aboard and what spurred. You were one of the producers on Big Gay Love.
That's right.
Too.
That's right. And so I really liked this story because it's getting at a point of view that we haven't seen before, in widespread media about point of view of children in all this marriage equality argument.
That's right. Yeah.
And so that was what intrigued me to come on board. And so, of course, Mindy and Tamlyn are both advocates for the community, and they've been terrific.
And Tamlyn's name, her last name is?
Tomita.
Mm-hmm. Tamlyn Tomita, right. And Mindy Cohn. So has the movie gotten made yet, or are you doing fundraising, crowdsourcing?
Yes, we're right in the middle of the crowdfunding phase. So yeah, definitely looking.
You've shot some because that's what's in the clip, right?
Right, but that was our promo. So what we did is we went to the writer's house, and actually to the house of one of the people on whom the story is based. And
so it's a true story made from.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, based on a true story.
Yeah, it was something where the writer had met these two women through her church group and started talking with them. And heard, well, I thought you were married for a long time, she said, and because they had been together for a long time.
Yeah.
And they said, yes, but not in California, and our kids are trying to push us to get married here before Proposition 8 happens. And so the story is about that push, like, hey, let's get our moms married before it's basically not legal for it to happen.
Yeah.
And so even though Proposition 8 has been defeated here, it's about the struggle for marriage equality nationwide. So that's why.
And also the rest of the world. Because,
absolutely.
Because really, I think like Canada had it like 2004, and then U.S. has it like basically 10 years after. And you have Amsterdam, and only actually a handful of countries that actually have
Luxembourg
marriage
just came out. Luxembourg, I was just talking about that just yesterday or today. The Parliament passed 56-4 in favor of gay same-sex marriage, and the Prime Minister is an openly gay Prime Minister, and the Deputy Prime Minister is also openly gay.
Wow.
Which I think is a big thing, and they're the 9th European Union country to recognize same-sex marriage. Now, have you heard the story of the two dads in Texas in the last couple of days? Now, that's a story that I think should be really told, too, is that they had two biological twins. They had a surrogate. They had each fertilized, each had an egg that got fertilized. They put them into this woman, and they got twins, these two little boys, and the fathers went in to do an adoption kind of proceedings so that both fathers could be, on the birth certificates, and they would not let their names be on the birth certificates.
I mean, in Texas?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And they're
Okay.
I
married.
was reading about this.
That they're married too. They went to somewhere and got married. I guess California. I don't know. Can't remember now. Oh, it's written right here.
So they did the surrogacy in Texas.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
All
not a place
places.
you want to do
I
your
was
No,
gonna say.
exactly. They got married
for that.
at someplace else, then they went back home to Texas.
Why?
Yeah, why? Good
Well,
idea.
it's the hometown because I think
You know, you want to go home because your
Your
family
roots,
is
your
there.
roots,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But still.
They got legally married in D.C. in 2013, but upon returning home to Texas, the pair's federally recognized union suddenly meant nothing. So you're right. It's a fight all over this country, but when you do involve children in this fight, they're so they don't have any knowledge of anything. They just know
Right.
that you're their parent and that you love them. They love you, and they just want to be safe. And when you start taking away people's rights, and you see the parents so upset, it cannot not affect the children.
Exactly.
No,
And
because
that's-
I think at the same time it's not just about the kids, because it's also about gay kids and also
Yeah.
kids with gay parents. And it's funny because I just had a script meeting with my friend who's a script advisor, and at the we finished a very intense note session, and after she said, you know what, I got to ask you something, because I think like my little boy, and he's like 10 years old. He really likes dressing up, and he likes he basically identifies with a girl, and what should I do? I think basically for me, the reason why I'm doing Operation Marriage, because I think we really need to educate our kids much earlier, whether it's 8 or 10 years old or 6 years old, just about the diversity and difference
That's
that
right.
we're going to face in this community. Where, as I was growing up in the 80s, that
you here
wasn't,
or were you in
I
China?
was in Hong Kong. I was between Hong Kong and Canada. But that wasn't that much of an issue. It's much more simpler. But now I think that even, as kids, you are like, 8 or 9 or 10 years old, or, 6 years old, you have a broader understanding of who you are, whether you are like, straight, lesbian, gay, or transgender, and I think that's where, Operation Marriage comes in, and I think it's sorely needed, because there isn't any new material for kids. And
Right.
I just remember as a kid, like as I was a teenager, or 16 years old, I could not find a gay novel. I had to like mail order a gay novel.
I have a gay
You know.
author coming on the show next week. His name is Felice Picano.
Oh,
Do you know
he's
him?
Yes, he wrote Ambidextrous. I read
amazing.
Felice when I was, I would say, in college.
And he's one of the first,
Yes.
I
Yeah.
think,
Pioneer.
pioneers in writing fiction, in writing novels, gay novels.
Absolutely.
with Edmund White also.
Edmund
yes.
White.
Yes, he's
Is he still
actually-
alive?
I don't think so.
Really?
But I
thought he was
don't
teaching
know.
at Brown.
He might be.
Now tell me his name again. I'll try to get him.
Edmund White.
Edmund.
Yeah, he wrote A Boy's Own Story, and that was, I think, the first gay novel that I read.
It's amazing.
A Boy's Own Story.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Well, see, that's the thing. If you have something to identify yourself with, if you think most young gay boys and girls, they think they're totally alone because they don't want to tell anybody. They won't tell their family. They don't, because they feel unusual, different, and they try to fit in. That's the growing up process. Everybody tries to fit in. You don't want to be different. You don't want to have anything different about you when you get into higher grades and middle school and things. You want to be part of the regular people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I think that what's interesting about Operation Marriage and important about it is that as LGBT people, we're moving into parenting. We're also facing a lot of resistance.
Yeah.
And the reality is that I would talk to gay friends, and he says like, well, you know what? I don't think you should have a kid, or I'm not sure you should have a kid, because just imagine, like, even I was Asian, I was extremely bullied in school. Just imagine you have gay parents, and
Yeah.
it's.
Right.
But I think that we have to do it. We have to be parenting. We have to be, creating, literature
Do you
for
want a baby?
children. I do. I'm planning on it.
Are you?
Yes. Will you be the godmother?
I will. Of course I will. I'm a good godmother. I thought maybe I was going to be the surrogate. But anyway, no, those days are gone. It's just dust. It's a dust bowl. Anyway, Alan, do you have kids?
No, not. I have 2 nephews, so yeah, I get to be an uncle. But,
That's good.
Yeah, no desire to have kids of my own. But going back to a point you were making earlier, a lot of kids in households where the parents are of the same sex, they just see that as their normal world.
Yeah.
That is their normal world. It's only when the outside world comes in and says, oh, this is something abnormal, that
This is why
they have this kind of shock.
This fear mongering that goes on in the southern states, but really all over the country. There are pockets of bigots everywhere, in California, in Nebraska, everywhere. And they are the ones that are making everybody feel so bad about themselves, when if we could just all, shut the fuck up and get on with living.
Right.
And not try to point out people's differences, but embrace everybody's differences.
Because I think we're all
been
different.
said,
That's the
but
thing.
yeah,
We
we are.
whether you're gay or you're Latino or you're black. It's really about this generation. It's about understanding and embracing difference and being okay with it.
You'd think by now we would be able to do that. John and I were talking earlier about the internet, how it's been a curse as well as it's been a blessing for us. And the curse is that we are exposed to everything, every moment, people's cats, people's dogs, what they had for dinner, what they're going to make for dinner. They're putting it on there, and
all the false information that gets passed around that looks like it's real. I mean, you have to do your research these days, because some things look like it's real, and then you find out, oh, that's satire.
Well, the Borowitz report today,
Okay.
the Borowitz report.
Yeah.
I think he must write for the New Yorker, and it was all about the Supreme Court, and they had pictures there, and I read it, and I went, oh my God, I can't remember now what the point was. It was something to do with them passing some. It's about that freedom of speech for lies that the politicians tell when they're running for office, that is now being considered their religion, and so it's okay because it's freedom of speech or freedom of religion. And I read it. It was there in front of me, and I immediately thought, holy crap, I'm going to have to talk about this tonight. I find out the Borowitz report is satirical, but it could happen. The satire gets so close to reality that it really could happen in this day and age, and you wonder, my God.
I read some articles, and I think they're an Onion article.
Yeah.
And then I find out it's true.
Yeah.
It's kind of unbelievable.
Both ways, yeah. So now, Operation Marriage. Tell us how we can contribute to your movie.
Basically, we need, every dollar possible. Our goal is, you can talk about that maybe.
Yes, tell us, dear.
Yes, so we have an initial goal of getting to $20,000 worth of contributions so that we can make the production actually happen. But we have a stretch goal of $50,000 where if we get to that larger goal, we can make an even bigger, better production. So that's what we're aiming for now, and we're right in the middle of our crowdfunding sort of effort to try to get the word out. So,
and how do we find the crowdfunding? Where is it located?
We are on Hatch Fund, and I don't know if I can talk out the whole long URL. I don't know if I remember it, but it's the Operation Marriage page on Hatch Fund.
And I haven't heard of Hatch Fund before.
Yes, it's a crowdfunding site where you can make tax deductible contributions. So because what we're doing with this is we're distributing it for free. We're getting it out to the world sort of as a PSA on marriage equality. It qualifies as something that is a something tax deductible and something that people can donate to through Hatch Fund. And so it's a fairly new site, but they've got a lot of good projects on there.
People, I do believe that they will be more inclined to give, for that reason, for that very reason.
And Hatch Fund is really great because they're very supportive of the artists. I've done Indiegogo, I've done like Kickstarter, and literally like you couldn't get anyone on the phone. But with Hatch Fund, we actually, phone conference our officer, basically officer like every week, just to like check in to see how we're doing. And obviously we just started like a week ago. And it's actually a very great site for artists and the right projects that are nonprofit.
Right.
Oh, this is exciting.
They really want to grow artists.
Yeah.
That's part of their charter is to grow artists.
Who's in charge of Hatch Fund?
Well, it's run by AIM or AIM. I don't know how they pronounce it, but that's the parent company that started Hatch Fund. And then they've got project managers for the different artistic projects that they've got on the site.
So you have your own project manager.
Yes.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Because that way you don't slip in the cracks and not be get overlooked. No, but this is great. This is absolutely great. You're always busy, Quentin Lee.
I'm trying to get busy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be busy.
You're
You're
here.
not gonna be a working girl like you. We're working girls.
And Alan, what do you do all the time in real life?
Well,
or do you do this full time?
Yes. Well, I'm producing. I'm moving into producing film, but my company actually produces educational content and has been doing that for years. So primarily e-learning. So this is a sort of good combo plate of things because it's a film as well as an educational piece.
Then you produce content for the internet.
Right.
Educational internet. I mean,
there's some of it that's available to the public, but a lot of it is for companies, for bigger companies that need big training programs for their engineers or for their sales force or what have you.
Terrific.
But these kinds of projects are a lot more fun.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I love being on a set. I think it's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Just fun, day in and day out. The longer the better. You get to know everybody, and everybody becomes a big family, and you're all so sad when it ends. But then you get to rev up again when you go to the movies and you premiere it. And it's great. Well, I want to thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Anne.
We'll
have to find a movie to make
again.
in the next
Yes,
year. Yeah, very soon, I promise.
I want to see you rich, married, and with a child. When you get those things, you come back.
I will. Thank you.
So
Alan,
one last time before we could just promote it one more time. I'm going to put it up on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Operation Marriage.
Operation Marriage.
And it can be found at?
It can be found on Hatch Fund.
Hatch Fund.
I don't have the exact URL committed to mine, but if you look on Hatch Fund for Operation Marriage, you should find that. We also have a site where you can go to. It's operationmarriagemovie.org.
All right.
Oh, good. operationmarriagemovie.org.
Great.
And we have that up there, too. Good. Okay. Well, thank you both very much for being here, and thank you for saving the show tonight.
Thank you.
Really
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Yes. And we're going to go ahead and say goodnight.
Oh, they all want you to go for 2 hours.
Oh, yeah, right.
They are saying that in the chat room. That's the conversation right now.
Give me 10 minutes to go to my notes, and we can go another hour and a half. But really, it's been a long day, and I'm extremely disappointed.
Oh.
But that's okay, because I'm not showing it.
No. Just said it, but you're not showing it.
No, I'm not
We're
showing
just
it.
making it move.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and sign off. That's the beauty of having your own show, and you own the station. You can do anything you want to, anytime. And so thank you, Quentin, my dear heart, and thank you, Alan. And I appreciate both of you coming in tonight and bringing me this lovely book. I'm just so thrilled.
We had a lot of new listeners in the chat room, at least in the chat room chatting. So
well, that's
welcome
good.
all the new
Anybody
folks.
have any questions before we go? Anybody had anything they want to say?
No, they were just commenting as we went along, but more about the fact that they want you to be 2 hours.
Oh, please.
No, I'm serious. That's been the conversation.
Really?
Yeah.
We're at an hour and a half usually.
I know.
And we fill that up pretty good. Next week's going to be great.
Who do you got next week?
Look at me. ever the optimist. We have Billy Hall, who is he is just indescribable, really. I met him through went to a memorial service. This is such an interesting story. Okay, we can go a little longer.
Okay.
I have an interesting story.
All right.
Last weekend, a fellow named Bob Dahlmeyer, who actually was in the State Department for a long time. Then he went into when you go these conventions, he sets up all the convention, like the drapes and the booths and all this stuff, and he works for one of those companies that does that, and he has been in that business forever. And he's also been living with AIDS for a long, long time, many years. He was 76. He passed away a couple of months back, and he just was so diversified in his life that he knew everybody from every walk of life. And I met him at a friend's birthday party. He was sitting next to me at dinner, and we got talking, and we became fast friends. He was just a wonderful man. And then he passed away, like I say. We kept in touch, and we have lunch once a month or talk on the phone. And he just really kept that friendship. And I tried to do it too because I liked him so much, and he was such an interesting man. We would go to the Bill Maher show. He would do that a couple of times a year with a huge group of people. And anyway, I was sitting next to Billy Hall at this memorial service at Bob Dahlmeyer's favorite restaurant. So we're sitting there and we're talking, and Billy Gray has on a huge sun hat, huge earrings, and a beautiful turquoise drape, scarf on. And he's the gorgeous, tall, and wonderful black man. And he is like, he doesn't want to be a woman, but he wants to dress flamboyantly. And he had a one-man show that Bob Dahlmeyer had co-produced for him several years ago, and I did not see it. But as the lunch went on, we got talking, and he knew about Sordid Lives and other things that I'd done, and we just became, again, I think it was sort of serendipitous that he was, putting us together again, putting other people together that he thought Bob Dahlmeyer, that would be good together. Then I got introduced to Felice Picano. He knew Bob. And so Felice and I started talking about his books and what he did. And I said, and being that it is Heritage Month, Gay Pride Month, I said, well, why don't we do a show? We'll dedicate it to Bob Dahlmeyer, and you'll come on, and Billy will come on. And then this girl that was sitting around us, and Dr. Terry, this wonderful guy I know, he's the one that said, and she was one of the founders of Bee's Laundry. That was back during the 80s, when no one would do AIDS patients' laundry.
Wow.
I think it was called Aunt Bee's Laundry. She founded that and knew Bob Dahlmeyer. And I got talking to her too, and I thought, well, those were the people. It obviously no longer exists, but it was so much needed in Los Angeles at the time because nobody would do their laundry if they knew that there was an AIDS patient or an HIV patient. Actually, I think it went. Did it or did it not? Maybe somebody knows. HIV. They didn't have time to be HIV for very long, right?
Right.
It just went into full-blown AIDS, and people died.
Right.
So it was a scary time, and she's a lesbian lady, this lady who was one of the founders. But had it not been for the lesbians in the hospitals, they were the ones that went in and took care of AIDS patients because regular nurses wouldn't go in and do it. So we're going to be paying homage to that next week, to my friend Bob Dahlmeyer, who we've had him on the show. He came on with a member, Andy Sacker, from the Lavender Project. The Lavender Project is trying to build here in Los Angeles a gay museum, an LGBT museum. And we had them on the show.
A few times.
A couple of times. And I did a fundraiser for them at Hamburger Mary's. Yeah. So, it's been a long, because you can't be in a person like Bob Dahlmeyer's company. He always has interesting people around him, and I'm going to miss him terribly because it was always a fun time. always great talking. And you know, you think of his home as being a salon of the older, you know, back in the 20s and 30s. People would gather around and everybody would be fabulous and, you know, have something to say. And I mean, I wish I could do that, you know, just invite these fabulous people to my home. And of course they wouldn't come.
Stop.
Anyway, I'm not bitter. I'm fine. Anyway, thank you all. But that's what next week is going to be about. I just love my gay community, and I appreciate so much that they've embraced me and watched my show, and I try to do everything I can, you know, to help. And this one calls me every couple of weeks. Can I be on your show this week? Yes. Yes, you can. I can always depend on you, your smiling face, and good projects. I wish you so much luck with this. And when it gets out, we'll come back and we'll do another little promo for it.
For sure. Thank
you.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you very much. And thank you all for listening. And I will see you next week.